Good evening, everyone. My name is Jolly Hatchett. The Citizens Police Oversight Commissioner meeting is hereby called to order. The time is 6:05 p.m. I am the chair of the Citizens Police Oversight Commission, and I will facilitate this meeting. This is a public meeting of the Citizens Police Oversight Commissioners that was properly advertised pursuant to the Pennsylvania Sunshine Act. At this time, I will ask that roll call be taken. Anthony, are you okay to do that?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Good evening, everybody. We're just going to take roll for the commissioners. Jolly Hatchett.
Present.
Afrosia Hossein.
She's absent with permission.
Benjamin Lerner.
Present.
Hassan Bennett.
Present.
John Solomon.
Present.
Melanie DeBose. No response. Mary Ellis Santiago.
Present.
Rosaura Thomas.
Present.
Hakeem P.A.
Present.
Thank you, Anthony. I need to make a correction. The first order of business is the approval of the public meeting minutes. There's a typo. It says December. It should be January. That information should have previously been circulated, and everyone who was present, as far as the commissioners, would have had an opportunity to look at that. Based on that, does anyone have a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
I so move.
Thank you. Does anyone second?
I second.
That was Hassan. Thank you, Hassan. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Thank you. The January public meeting minutes have been approved. The next order of business is whether or not there are any community comments. I've been advised that we haven't received any. Is that correct, Anthony?
We haven't received any, but we have received none in advance.
Okay. Is anyone opposed to seeing whether or not it looks like Elder Melanie is present, and it's 6:07 p.m. So if we can make that correction.
So noted.
Is anyone opposed to taking any community comments if there are any that haven't been submitted in advance? Okay. At this point in time, if there are any members of the community that are present that have comments, you can either by speaking or raising your hand, and we'll take brief community comments that will be, depending on how many there are, subject to a 3-minute time limit. Anyone with a community comment? Not hearing any comments or seeing any hands, and by all means, I can't see the entire screens, but it doesn't look like there's anyone who wants to make a comment. So we will move on to the next order of business. The next order of business should be the executive director report. Anthony, are you okay to give the executive director report?
Yes, Chair.
The floor is yours. Thank you.
All righty. Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome any members of the public that are watching. This is the executive director's report. So for this month, we have a few things to report. First, which would be the ballot questions there was a city council hearing on Monday regarding the introduction of a ballot question that would allow employees of the Citizens Police Oversight Commission to be exempt from the civil service hiring process. This was the intent of the writers of the legislation. And it's something that we as an agency support because it allows us to have the flexibility in hiring and designing the positions that we need. And it also keeps us as an independent body in the sense that we would not be if we were in the civil service, the employees of CPOC would essentially be in the same employment pool as the Philadelphia Police Department. So when we would be doing policy work or really anything that could affect the employment rules, we would be essentially doing that in a forum that we shared. And that really, our point in the whole testimony part was to make sure that independence was something that was real and not just something that was stated. So it was an important ballot question, and we fought very hard for it. And it looks like it's going to be on the ballot in May, and we're very excited about that. The second part of the city council hearing was an ordinance that applied specifically to the commissioners. which was the original legislation had created campaign contribution rules that were actually in excess of the rules of the ethics board. So the law department flagged it, and for consistency's sake, requested that the legislation be amended to bring all commissions and boards within the city sort of in alignment. So that was voted on and voted out of committee on Monday. Now, all that means the prior restrictions were that commissioners were not allowed to contribute to really any candidates anywhere at any time, right? Now the prohibition is strictly local candidates. So commissioners, if they choose to participate in contributing to statewide or national candidates, they can do so. But for local candidates, the prohibition remains. So that was the primary change in that ordinance. The next part of the report
Excuse me.
Yep. Yes, sir.
If there are questions, would you rather us wait till the end of your report or raise them in connection with the subject as the subject you're talking about?
I think at the end of the report, I'll try to make it fairly brief so everything is still fresh in everyone's mind. Is that okay, Judge?
That's fine. I just wanted to know which you prefer.
Okay. All right. So, the next part of the report is the hiring process. So we are doing very well in our hiring process. We had positions posted for auditor monitor, policy analyst, constituent services, and director of investigations. Those were all posted in the latter part of December. We are well into the interview stages for all positions. We are in the second interview phase for policy analysts, and we had actually made an offer for a director of investigations, which was accepted, but last week. And that is still, we're not announcing who that is publicly yet, because there's still background investigations and other aspects of that are going on. But we are really moving quickly. We got an enormous response to all positions that we posted for. It was very encouraging that so many talented people wanted to be part of our team. So we're very excited about that, and hopefully we can fill all of those positions by March and really start pushing forward with the CPOC build out. And I do want to note that that's just in the first 3 months of this year. That'll be an almost 100% expansion of staff, which is very positive in every direction. So, and the next part of the report is we are meeting with the police executive team on Friday to do a couple of things. We're going to really try to educate them on the form and function of our units, what we do, what our capability is, and basically give them kind of a heads up on what's to come, like within the next year, in terms of what they can expect us to be pushing for. What I mean by that is, what our units are going to be doing, what kind of information they're going to be requesting, how we're going to execute the legislation, especially the technical parts of it, like data reporting, complaint management. Those are two very big administrative functions that we really need to coordinate on, just to competently acquire the information, evaluate it, and get it out into the public and use it for policy and practice stuff and other things. We also want to talk to them really about how we can work together for reform and creating those mechanisms. So instead of shouting at, we're working with on the things we can work with the understanding that, we're going to disagree about things at times. We're trying to establish relationships that allow reform to be practically possible. So that's what we're going to be doing with them on Friday, and that's just really the beginning of what will be a long process of executing the legislation. Additionally, we are reorganizing our office, and Danny and Christian have done some amazing work so we can accommodate all of our new hires. So in the short term, in the same space we have everyone in now, which is nearly full already. But we're doing a lot of work to make sure that our initial hires get onboarded quickly and can hit the ground running. while also working long-term to secure larger accommodations and really securing space for our, for our expansion. Because while we are expanding almost 100% now, we expect to do that again a couple more times. So it's there's a lot going on for our future, and we're very excited about it. I did want to close briefly with budget season is coming. So as commissioners and community members working to support our financial needs to deliver service to the residents of Philadelphia is very important. So if there's any networks you can deploy to get our message out, so we are well supported and we can do our work competently, that would be great. And I can answer any questions from commissioners that would like to ask questions.
I have 3 questions about 3 items, but I'll only ask one at a time because I don't want to monopolize the question period. The first question that I have pertains to the hiring of the chief investigator. I am, as a former executive director of an organization, I'm very sensitive to the idea that generally for most hirings, the staff is going to be hiring the staff with the executive director in charge of that. I have a feeling, though, that the director of investigations position is so potentially critical to the future and the work of the organization that I'm a little surprised that the commissioners, at least this commissioner, has no idea who applied for that position, who the finalists were, who's been who's the person who's being offered the position, and what are the qualifications and experience of that person. So I just raising a question about why the commissioners were not more aware of, or maybe it's just me who wasn't aware of what was going on.
Definitely not just you.
But I mean, that's not just another staff position. So that's my question about that issue.
Well, my response to that is that we did this in accordance with the legislation as prescribed in the legislation. So the legislation gives that power to the executive director to hire and fire all staff under. But we also we acknowledged that we were in that search. We posted the job in December, and honestly, at any time we can do an executive session, and I can talk to you about specifics of any one of those, any of the applicants, and we can talk about that at any time. I mean, obviously, we can't say application names in public, but I'd be happy to have discussed any and all of that prior. It just wasn't something that was in the legislation, so it wasn't. We did it according to that. But we can certainly provide in advance updates in the future and do executive sessions to discuss those issues.
Well, when can the commissioners, at least, we may have a different view or not exactly the same view about what the legislation says about the hiring, the hiring process, or what it doesn't say. And what is good practice, but forget about that for now. When can we know who this person is? When can we meet this person? When can we be advised as to this person's experience and qualifications?
Judge, if I may suggest, I think that we could probably get those answers in the executive session today. after the public meeting.
Okay. I'm comfortable with that. Well, I got another question if nobody else has one. In fact, I have two more questions.
I do.
Go ahead.
With the executive director, who came up with the qualifications? How was the qualifications designed? The requirements.
The requirements were, we came up with that as a group of staff. We came up with the job description and the requirements.
I'm sorry, Hassan, I heard executive director. Did you say executive
I mean,
director?
my
The director
fault.
of investigations.
My director.
Director of investigation. I apologize.
That's correct.
I ran across it probably like a week and a half ago. I came to the office to talk about it, but he's already hired now, so it really doesn't mean anything. He or she.
Hassan, did you meet the
No,
investor?
I didn't meet him, but he just said they chose someone already and he accepted. Am I right?
That's correct.
Yeah, they chose someone and it was accepted. I just want to know. I just would like it to be brought to the commissioners, the qualifications beforehand. The hiring is a surprise to me, and I just ran across the qualifications, like I said, about 10 days ago, so.
No, they were posted in the middle of December, and aside from the fact that we used our staff, our executive staff to help design the position, we also used qualifications and posting from other agencies across the country as guidance as well.
So what I'll ask at this time, unless anyone else feels differently, based on the questions we're getting from the commissioners, I think it's worthy of a maybe more in-depth conversation in executive session.
I agree.
I second.
Okay. Any other questions based on Anthony's report so far? Judge, I know you said you had two other questions.
Yes, I hope they will not be nearly as difficult, but Anthony, I don't have a full understanding of what we can or can't do by way of political contributions and what council's doing to change whatever is already in the statute, because the distinction between local officials and state and federal officials doesn't really tell me very much when we're talking about local people who are running for state positions like the state legislature or Congress. Are we permitted or not permitted by law to make contributions to those campaigns?
Well, what I can do to make sure that we're extra clear is that once this formally passes, because it just passed out of committee, the Law and Government Committee. So once this passes, or even actually in anticipation, what I can do is, one, I'll forward to all of you what the actual wording of the ordinance. And then once it passes, I think that the wisest course of action is to immediately ask for an opinion from the Board of Ethics that provides sort of more specific guidance that we can follow. Because I mean, a lot of ordinances aren't worded perfectly, right? So it's what does local mean? My local United States congressman,
Well,
that's
right. I mean, that's a local official or a federal official, but a local person.
I think the intention is Philadelphia races, like Philadelphia electeds of any kind, but we should get, I think that you're making a good point, and it is wise to get an ethics opinion so no one runs afoul inadvertently.
Thank you. All right, my final question has to do with this upcoming meeting that you just told us you're going to have with the police department's senior staff, which, if I understood you correctly, is among other things going to cover what the commission's plans and hopes are in terms of its relationship with the police department for the coming year. Do I have that right?
Only a little bit. It's primarily focused on making them understand what their requirements are under the legislation, primarily like nuts and bolts, like data reporting and responding to policy reports, the time frame when we can. I mean, I want to make sure that they know those sort of rules we're playing by, and so it's clear to everybody. That's the primary focus of the meeting.
Okay. If it were broader, in terms of the commission's plans or, for the coming year and how we thought things might change in terms of our interaction with the police, I think there are commissioners who would like to at least be able to attend that meeting, not necessarily to participate in it, but just to get a firsthand view of how the police executive the police executive board is reacting to and responding to what we're telling them or asking them.
If we could do a larger sort of long-term strategy meeting with them if the commissioners would think that that's appropriate and something they wanted to participate in. All we would need really to do is create a plan outline and schedule it. So we are absolutely happy to do that, and I'm sure police leadership would be happy to attend as well.
Well, I think that would be a great thing. I defer to my fellow commissioners as to whether or not they would also be interested in attending and participating in such a meeting, but I'd be all for that.
I'm interested.
Not only am I interested in that, I don't like being on the first time I find out things is in a public meeting. I think we should have at least some type of email like, this is the plan, this is what we're planning to do as a staff. Finding out in a public meeting is, I'm just caught off guard by a lot of this.
I can send an executive report in advance of the public meeting. Would that be?
Well, I think Jolly's idea about these kinds of issues being appropriately discussed first in executive session is right on the money.
Yeah, I would agree. So I don't think it's just sending a notice before the public meeting is enough. I would like to know ahead of time that, okay, this was what we're planning to do, so we can at least give input on it. It just appears that, okay, the legislation says this, we understand the legislation to say this, so we doing this. What are we here for? What are the commissioners here for if that's how it's gonna go? You're just gonna inform us afterwards? I just would like the commissioners to have more say-so on what's going on, or at least be aware of what's going on. We shouldn't find out the same time as the public.
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, Judge Lerner. Are there any other questions based on the executive director report? Keeping in mind for the commissioners, we will also go into executive session following this. I had one question, and I don't know if I missed it. I don't think I missed it. Was there an update on the number of complaints received and forwarded or recommended the past month?
I apologize. We have received 16 complaints in the month of January, and that is our year-to-date total for the year.
Okay, thank you. If there are not any other questions for the based on the executive director report, we'll move on to the executive director search update. The committee consists of myself, Hassan Bennett, Judge Benjamin Lerner, and Elder Melanie DeBose. We have been meeting, I think, for maybe the past 3 or 4 weeks, consistently once a week. And the update that I will share with the group, and we can talk more about it in executive session, but we have gone from 60 applicants and we've gone down to 10 applicants that we will be sending out emails to and inviting them to interviews. I think we planned on doing that we'll do that by the end of the month. And I believe that the next date we have scheduled to meet is actually on a weekend. That's how hard we are working to get this done. I believe it was decided February the 25th. That is the update for the executive director search. Any questions outside of executive session based on that? And I just want to take this time to publicly thank Hassan, Judge Lerner, and Elder Melanie DeBose. We've been putting in a lot of work. So thank you so much. Late nights.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
The next item on the agenda, and I believe Rosario was kind enough to be able to give us an update on that in Afroja's absence, is the general counsel search.
Okay, so between myself, Mary Alice, and John Solomon and Ambrosia, we need more candidates to apply for the general counsel. We have several that we are interested in, great candidates, great resumes, great cover letters, but we do definitely need more so we can choose more and have them come in. So we're hoping that Danny was planning on putting that out there to our law schools or legal schools. Jolly, you gotta help me here because I'm not an attorney, but we are working so well together and we all are on board. Mary Ellis can share with you and John can share with you how on board we are together to get a good candidate for general counsel for CPOC.
As of today, we have 28 applicants, but we have posted it and we'll continue to post it in other portals. And I believe it will be posted on till the 15th, if that's correct, right, Danny? Yeah, so.
March 15th, right?
Correct.
March 15th, correction.
Thank you. As not a suggestion, more of a comment. When we put out the posting for executive director, Danny was able to put it out nationally. So if you all are interested in having a potential candidate who would come from maybe a national level, that's possible. But if you also think that it may be better or the position lends itself to having someone more locally, grassroots from around here, that's totally fine as well. I have no issue if we want to try to extend the branches. I have a few networks I can send it out to as well. Just let me know.
Just so you know, Johnny, we did post it to NACO's website the same way we did for executive director, but I'm sure the committee would love those connections.
Okay. That's a little surprising. There was an overwhelming response for the other position. So, okay. Thank you for that update. Are there any questions based on that from anyone? All right, thank you. At this point in time, we'll move to just a general discussion or announcements. If there are any announcements from the group, the commissioners, or any one of the CPOC staff members. I will just ask Danny if you can, are you able to just advise everyone on a call of the next public meeting date?
Of course.
Sorry, not for the commissioners, for the just CPOC. Okay.
So our plan for our next community meeting, town hall, is going to be on Thursday, February 23rd. We needed to move it to a Thursday to accommodate some of the speakers that we have in attendance. This meeting will be on Zoom. The link is already on our website, and the calendar update has been updated. We'll be sending out a MailChimp later in this week, which will have some more details, which is a lovely segue for me to put in the comments that if you are not already part of our mailing list, please sign up. You can do so on our website if you're viewing this on YouTube. It's live, but I just put in the chat for everybody in attendance right now.
Excuse me, Danny. That's Thursday, February 23rd,
That is correct, yes.
6 o'clock,
Correct. On
Thank
Zoom
you.
as well.
of course.
Hopefully that'll be the last community town hall on Zoom for a little while. But due to the topics, we felt that and the speakers we wanted, it was easier to get everybody on Zoom. Than in-
Okay,
Thank you, Danny.
thank you.
At this point in time, Hassan, you have something?
Yeah, yes, I have something. People are saying it's difficult. Let me get my camera up. People are saying it's difficult to log in on the Zoom. I don't know what the problem is, but is there a way we can make it easier for people to log in?
People can watch all of our meetings. They'll always be live streamed on YouTube moving forward. So that's
It's one
another
thing to
big-
be live on YouTube, but if people want to participate in a meeting, how can they participate, or can you do it? I apologize for cutting you off, or can you do it from YouTube?
Yeah, I believe you can make comments. I'll admit that I'm not looking at them right now, but that is a function of YouTube Live. But additionally, hopefully in future meetings when we have, I can have some help. Somebody could be on the live looking at any comments that come in through that vehicle. I don't know why people are having accessibility issues for Zoom, but I can definitely look into that and reach out. We recently, 2 months ago, switched our Zoom account from a regular to a business account through the city. So I don't know if that has any reason why, but I'm not a IT specialist, so I'm not sure why these issues are happening. But definitely if people can send error messages to our general email, we can always look into them and see if there's ways to resolve any issues with Zoom.
All right. I say that because, well, of course, I'm getting messages that they can't find it and get into it. And also, when I was trying to log into it, it was taking me to Teams.
That was an error that only you would experience because you are a commissioner, and there was an issue with the calendar invite that was sent to everybody where it converted our Zoom meeting into a Teams. But that's not something the public would have experienced. The Zoom link that's on our website as well, that we post on social media, has always been the same Zoom link.
And it's okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners? Okay, I'll need someone to make a motion to go into executive session, and then we will, all of the community members will say goodnight to you all.
Looks like we have a community comment question, Jolly. Has this been raised? Hands raised?
Certainly. Sylvia, hi, Sylvia.
Hi, I just want to thank you very much for being here. You know, in light of what happened in Memphis with the police murder of Tyree Nichols, it's so important that this commission be up and running and well organized and ready in case, God forbid, we have something like that in Philly. So thank you all, and good luck with your work. It's so important.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Sylvia, for always being a part of our meetings.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll move into executive session. Anyone who is not a commissioner, with the exception of Danny and Anthony, please log off. Good night, everyone.